One of our viewers wrote in and said, I'm polyamorous, but my wife is not. My wife isn't particularly kinky and doesn't have the same drive as I do. I love her and I want to stay with her, but my wife, our therapist, and at least one poly friend seems to think that it's either being with my wife or having other partners is the choice. One or the other. Forget about being polyamorous or leave my wife. What can I do?
Okay. So I'm Reid from readaboutsex.com.
I'm Cathy from theintimacydojo.com.
Okay, so they mentioned poly and kinky in there, so I just want to make a distinction. You can be poly and you can be kinky. You can be kinky and not be poly. Like, they're not, just because you're poly doesn't mean you're kinky.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's a tough one. I've seen poly-mono relationships work, where the monogamous person is really only in a relationship with the poly folk. And basically the poly person's lovers and network of whatever constellation is basically like extended family. It's like basically you're dating somebody who has a lot of cousins and they're kissing cousins.
So he's basically not dating a sexual species.
Well, yeah. I mean, it really depends on the monogamous person.
Right.
And how committed the poly person is to making sure that their primary, who's the monogamous person, is taken care of like that. Like, you do everything that you can to make sure that your monogamous partner is feeling loved, honored, and cherished.
Right. People can date your species.
Sure.
But it's just a little more work.
It's a little bit more work. And again, it depends on the kind of poly, right? So if you're, again, I don't know these people, but thank you for writing in.
Yeah.
If his kind of poly is a closed quad where everybody dates each other, that's not going to work for the wife. So there's some like different poly styles in there that may not be compatible with a poly-mono situation, but it can be done. It is a lot of work. It sounds like your therapist, well, I don't know, because maybe your therapist is poly-friendly, and maybe the advice that you're getting is because of the kind of monogamous that your wife is and the kind of poly that you are. We don't have the answers for that. Okay. You can email me separately, and I mean, I do coaching on this kind of stuff too. You can do a one-on-one session or a couple session, but generally, I wouldn't recommend any poly people dating monogamous folk. And I don't regularly recommend monogamous people dating poly folk. So, because it's just easier when you do date your species. But in this instance, it could work, maybe, but I would need to know more information.
Yeah. So you might want to check out, since you don't like the solution your therapist had given you, it's okay to get a second opinion to find out if someone has a different solution, and to figure out really what you need out of the relationship. What do you need? What are your needs in relationship, and are they getting met where you are? And finding out what your partner's needs are in a relationship, and figuring out if there's a place where they can overlap that is solid enough to carry you forward. Because if it's not going to work, if you truly aren't getting your needs met, or she can't get her needs met, it may be better to make a decision early on.
Yeah. Do a little bit more research. Get a couple other opinions.
Yeah.
But a great question, and not an uncommon question. There are lots of situations like this. Congratulations for watching videos like this and writing in, and for bringing that conversation out in the open for your wife, doing therapy and like really being proactive in this.
Yeah, great job.
Good job. Comments.